Listen, ladies, let me tell you something right now. If a man hurts you, whether it's with his words, his actions, his silence, his lies, don't think you got to break yourself down trying to figure out what's wrong with you. Too many women make that mistake. He cuts you deep, and instead of holding him accountable, you're standing in the mirror talking about, maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe if I had cooked more, loved harder, forgave faster. No. No. Let's get this straight today. Hurt is a choice. And if he chose to hurt you, then you got to choose how you handle it. And I promise you, this method works 100%. First rule, don't negotiate your worth with a man who discounted you. See, when somebody shows you they can hurt you, you don't beg them for coupons of love. You don't go asking for clearance, rack affection. You set the price at what you're worth. And if he can't afford it, he got to step. Let me tell you, men understand value. You don't have to argue about it. You don't have to shout about it. Just stop giving discounts. Second rule, silence is louder than revenge. Oh, you think going off screaming, slashing tires, posting cryptic quotes on Facebook is going to fix him? No, what fixes him is when he looks for you and you're no longer available for the same nonsense. Nothing drives a man crazier than the woman who stopped explaining herself. The woman who just disappeared into her glow up, because that's when it hits him. He lost access. And let me tell you, access is everything. Third rule, heal for real. Don't confuse ignoring him with healing from him. If you don't deal with the hurt, it's going to sneak back into your next relationship wearing a new pair of shoes. Healing means crying if you got to cry, praying if you got to pray, talking to somebody who lifts you up, not somebody who gossips about you. Healing means forgiving, not for him, but for you. Because if you don't release it, you'll keep carrying it. And you're too valuable to drag pain around like it's part of your outfit. Now listen, I know some of y'all are sitting here saying, but you don't understand. I love him. Let me help you with that. Love ain't supposed to feel like a knife in your back. Love is not supposed to make you feel smaller than who you are. Love is a safe place, not a war zone. If it hurts all the time, that ain't love, that's bondage. And when you finally understand that, you'll stop chasing the chain that's holding you down and start reaching for the key that sets you free. And the last rule, the most powerful one, don't lose yourself. See, men come and go, but you got to live with yourself every day. Your joy, your peace, your laughter, that belongs to you. If you give all that away to somebody who mistreats you, you're bankrupting yourself for somebody else's profit. Protect your soul like it's your house. If he's kicking in the door, tearing up the furniture, throwing dirt on the walls, put him out. Change the locks, decorate again, get new curtains, rebuild your home. That's how you handle a man who hurts you. Not with bitterness, not with begging, not with revenge. You handle it with dignity, with boundaries, with silence, with healing, and with self-love. Because when you operate like that, you teach every man who comes after him how to treat you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the method that works 100%. Stop negotiating your worth with someone who discounted you, because the moment you do, you start sending the message that you don't even believe in the value you carry. Think about it. When you walk into a store and see a luxury brand that never goes on sale, there's a reason it doesn't. It's not because nobody wants it. It's because the company knows its product holds weight. It knows its name, its quality, its reputation speaks for itself. People line up, save up, and wait patiently just to get access to it. Now, compare that to the clearance rack, where everything is marked down and thrown together, waiting for somebody who just happens to stroll by with a spare $5. The moment you allow someone to mistreat you, hurt you, devalue you, and then you stay trying to make excuses for them, you've essentially placed yourself on that clearance rack. But the truth is, you were never meant to live at a discount. You were designed to stand at full value. When a man hurts you and you keep negotiating your worth with him, you're basically saying, I know I deserve better, but if you just give me crumbs, I'll pretend that's enough. That is a dangerous game, because the more you lower the bar, the more he's going to test how low you'll go. If you keep showing up for the same behavior, he's not going to stop. Why would he? You already taught him that hurting you doesn't cost him anything. You already showed him that he can break your trust, play with your emotions, and you'll still stick around bargaining for attention. Negotiation like that is a form of self-betrayal. Because deep down, you know your soul craves more, your spirit longs for more, and your heart is screaming for more, but your actions are showing him less. The hardest thing about not negotiating your worth is that it requires walking away when everything in you still wants to stay. It's easy to say, I deserve better, but it's another thing to act on it. It's like saying you're on a diet, but hiding cookies in the cabinet. The real shift comes when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is the standard, this is the price. And I'm not lowering it for anybody who doesn't respect it. That's not arrogance, that's self-respect. And respect always starts with you. If you set your own price too low, don't be surprised when nobody offers you more. But if you hold firm, the right person who truly values you will step up, not because you beg, but because they recognize quality when they see it. A lot of people, especially women who love hard, fall into the trap of confusing compromise with discounting. Compromise is healthy. It's part of any real relationship. But compromise means we both meet in the middle. We both give, we both stretch. Discounting means I shrink myself while you stand tall. I excuse your bad habits while you keep ignoring mine. I accept your silence while silencing my needs. That's not compromise, that's imbalance. And an imbalanced relationship will eventually break you because you're pouring in from an empty cup. Every time you let a man hurt you and you tell yourself, it's okay, he'll change, you're not compromising. You're negotiating your worth down like a price tag that keeps getting scratched and marked lower. One of the most powerful things you can do is recognize that your worth is non-negotiable. You can't sit around waiting for someone else to recognize it before you claim it. It's like waiting for a customer to touchy their bags are valuable Gucci. Already knew before they put them on the shelf. You gotta already know. So when someone tries to make you believe you're ordinary, you can stand firm in knowing you're extraordinary. It's not about pride. It's about knowing who you are. And when you know who you are, you stop letting people waste your time with games, excuses, and half love. The truth is the people who hurt you are often testing boundaries. And every time you negotiate with them, you're giving them permission to cross another line. A man who hurts you and gets away with it once will push to see if he can get away with it twice. If he lies and you take him back, he'll test you with a bigger lie. If he cheats and you forgive without real accountability, he'll test the limits of your tolerance. And before you know it, you've set a pattern that says, I can be hurt and I will still stay. Breaking that cycle starts with refusing to bargain your way into being treated well. When you finally stop negotiating your worth, you start seeing the difference between love and attachment, between respect and convenience. You stop falling for sweet words and start paying attention to consistent actions. You stop settling for apologies without change. You stop giving chances to people who have shown you they don't deserve access. And here's the thing, you may lose a few people along the way. People who were comfortable using you, people who benefited from your discounts, people who love the idea of you, but not the responsibility of loving you. But losing them is not your loss, it's your freedom. Because when you clear out the space that was filled with people who didn't value you, you finally make room for the one who does. It's not easy to hold firm, especially when your heart is invested, when you've built dreams around someone, when you've given years of your life. But what's worse, walking away now and reclaiming your worth, or staying in a place where every day chips away at your confidence, your joy, and your peace. The longer you negotiate, the more expensive it becomes, not in dollars, but in the emotional toll it takes on your soul. So stop negotiating your worth with someone who discounted you, because the moment you stop, you start teaching the world how to treat you. You set the bar high, not because you're hard to love, but because you're easy to lose if they don't respect what you bring to the table. And that kind of standard doesn't just change how others treat you. It changes how you see yourself, how you walk into rooms, how you demand respect without ever raising your voice. Because you finally understand your worth was never up for sale in the first place. Silence is louder than revenge, because revenge feeds the very energy that hurt you in the first place. When someone does you wrong, the first reaction is to clap back, to show them they messed with the wrong one, to prove you're not weak. You want to send the text, make the phone call, expose them, slash the tires, burn the bridge with fireworks so they feel the sting of what they did to you. It's human nature to crave that release, to believe if they hurt you, then they should hurt too. But the truth is, revenge doesn't free you, it chains you. It keeps you tied to the one who wronged you, stuck in a cycle of back and forth battles that leave you drained while they still hold power over your emotions. Silence, on the other hand, that's power. That's control. That's the message they can't ignore. Silence says, I'm done explaining myself. It says, I'm not here to negotiate with someone who already knew what they were doing when they chose to hurt me. See, when you argue, when you scream, when you fight for attention, you're still feeding the connection. You're still handing over your time, your energy, your peace. But silence takes all of that back. Silence is like hanging up the phone in the middle of chaos and leaving the other person talking to themselves. There's nothing louder than the absence of your reaction. It forces them to sit with themselves, with their choices, with the space you left behind. And that kind of quiet has a weight to it that words could never carry. The beauty of silence is that it isn't about punishing the other person, it's about protecting yourself. Revenge is about them, silence is about you. When you choose silence, you're choosing not to let somebody's chaos become your soundtrack. You're choosing peace over pettiness, healing over havoc. You're choosing to close the door without slamming it because you don't need the noise, you just need the boundary. And the boundary is loud all by itself. People expect drama, they expect explosions, they expect you to react. They don't expect you to simply disappear into your calm, to remove yourself without a scene. And that unexpected shift is what shakes them to their core. Think about how many times people feed off your reaction. They say something slick, not because they believe it, but because they want to see you flare up. They do something reckless, not because they need to, but because they want to test your patience. Your reaction is their fuel. The moment you stop giving it, they run out of gas. They can't keep the fire going if you stop throwing wood in it. That's why silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It's knowing that sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. Silence is also where your healing happens. When you're silent, you're not just cutting them off, you're tuning into yourself. You can finally hear your own thoughts without their noise in the background. You can hear your intuition telling you what's best for you. You can hear your peace returning, your confidence rebuilding, your spirit breathing again. In silence, you gain clarity. You stop rehearsing what you would have said. You stop plotting what you could have done, and you start focusing on what you will do for your own growth. Revenge doesn't give you that. Revenge keeps you in their story. Silence lets you start writing your own. Now, silence doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. It doesn't mean you forget the betrayal. And it doesn't mean you let somebody walk over you. Silence is not denial. It's not about pretending nothing happened. It's about refusing to let the hurt dictate your actions. You can acknowledge the pain, you can face the betrayal, but you don't let it drag you into a fight that's beneath your dignity. Silence is saying, yes, you hurt me, but you won't control me. Yes, you broke something, but you won't break me. That's strength disguised as stillness. People confuse noise with strength. But noise is just energy thrown around without direction. Silence, though, silence is focused power. It's why in every heated argument, the one who stays calm always comes out on top. It's why in every breakup, the one who stops talking first is the one the other person keeps thinking about. You can't compete with silence because silence leaves questions unanswered. And unanswered questions echo louder than explanations. When they don't know what you're thinking, when they don't know where you stand, when they don't know what's next, that uncertainty eats at them in a way your words never could. There's also something deeply liberating about not needing the last word. So many times people stay stuck because they're waiting to say that one final line, that one sharp comeback, that one truth that's supposed to make the other person see the light. But here's the thing, they already knew the truth. They knew what they were doing when they hurt you. They don't need you to explain it. They need to sit in it. And your silence forces them to do exactly that. It closes the door without debate. It leaves them with their choices, and it leaves you with your dignity intact. Silence is also the birthplace of transformation. It's in the quiet that you gather your strength, that you start rebuilding yourself, that you start creating a new version of you that doesn't live in reaction to somebody else's actions. When you choose silence, you create room for growth, room for new opportunities, room for healthier connections. Revenge doesn't leave room, it just clutters your life with more negativity. Silence clears the space so you can move forward. So when you've been hurt and everything in you wants to lash out, remember this silence isn't giving up, it's leveling up. It's shifting the power back to you. It's breaking the cycle. It's choosing a future over a fight. Because in the end, silence always says more than revenge ever could. Heal for real, don't just ignore. Because ignoring pain is like sweeping dirt under the rug. It might look clean for a while, but eventually that pile builds up, and when it spills out, it's worse than before. Too many people think moving on means pretending nothing happened. They bury the pain under distractions, new relationships, parties work, or even silence, hoping time alone will do the healing. But time doesn't heal all wounds, truth does. Facing what hurt you, acknowledging it, sitting with it, processing it, that's where real healing begins. Because if you don't heal for real, the wound stays open and it bleeds into every part of your life, touching your friendships, your family, your confidence, your future relationships, everything. When you've been hurt, the temptation is to put on a strong face. Tell yourself, I'm fine, and keep moving. It's easier to ignore than to feel, easier to distract than to sit with the ache. But when you ignore it, you're not actually moving forward. You're carrying it with you. It's like breaking a bone and never setting it right. You can keep walking, but every step will remind you of the break. And when the pressure comes, it will snap again in the same place. Emotional pain works the same way. If you don't stop to treat it, it will repeat itself, and you'll find yourself asking why you keep attracting the same kind of hurt over and over. Healing for real means facing the hard questions. Why did it hurt so deeply? What did it take away from me? Why did I stay longer than I should have? What was I afraid of losing? What wound in me allowed me to accept less than I deserved? Those questions aren't comfortable, but they're necessary because without them, you risk repeating the same story with different characters. Ignoring the pain just delays the lesson, but healing digs into the root so you can finally break the cycle. Part of healing for real is allowing yourself to feel everything you were trying to suppress. Cry if you have to cry, shout if you have to shout, write if you have to write. Healing doesn't mean smiling through pain. It means honoring it so it can move through you instead of staying stuck inside you. Too often people think strength means not feeling. But true strength is feeling it all and still choosing to rise from it. Numbness is not healing, it's avoidance. And avoidance only stretches the pain across more time, making it heavier to carry. Forgiveness is another layer of real healing, but it gets misunderstood. Forgiveness is not saying what they did was okay. It's not saying you should trust them again, and it's definitely not an invitation for them to come back into your life. Forgiveness is releasing yourself from the grip of bitterness, because bitterness is just the chain that ties you to the one who hurt you. You can't move freely into joy if you're still dragging resentment. Forgiveness doesn't free them, it frees you. And when you forgive, you're not excusing what happened, you're simply refusing to let it define the rest of your life. Another part of healing is community, because you weren't meant to carry pain alone. Too many people suffer in silence, keeping secrets about what broke them because they're ashamed of looking weak. But pain thrives in silence. It grows in isolation. Healing comes when you share it with someone who loves you enough to listen without judgment, to remind you of your worth when you forgot, to speak truth over you when lies of unworthiness echo in your head. Sometimes that's a friend, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's a therapist, sometimes it's God. The point is, you need safe places to pour out the poison so you can fill back up with strength. Healing for real also means choosing healthier habits, because after heartbreak or betrayal, it's easy to reach for whatever numbs the pain: alcohol, rebound relationships, endless scrolling, work addiction. But those things only push the pain down further. Healing requires habits that actually restore you: journaling, prayer, exercise, therapy, meditation, creating something, resting without guilt. These habits build you back up instead of tearing you down. They turn the wound into wisdom, the pain into power. One of the most overlooked parts of healing is patience. We live in a world of instant results, where if something hurts, we want it gone tomorrow. But healing is not linear. It doesn't move in a straight line. One day you'll feel strong. The next day you'll feel broken again. One morning you'll wake up grateful for the growth, and by evening you'll be angry at the loss all over again. That doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're human. Healing is like waves, it comes and goes. But with time, the waves lose their strength, and eventually the storm calms. The key is not to give up in the middle of the process, just because it doesn't feel quick or easy. When you heal for real, you start seeing yourself differently. You stop identifying with the pain and start identifying with the strength it gave you. You stop seeing yourself as the one who was hurt and start seeing yourself as the one who overcame. You stop letting the wound define your worth and start letting your recovery define your resilience. And that shift changes everything. It changes how you walk into relationships, how you set boundaries, how you love yourself, how you show up in the world. Ignoring pain might get you through the moment, but it won't get you through life. Healing for real will. It will take time, it will take effort, it will take honesty, but it will also give you back your freedom, your joy, and your peace. And once you've truly healed, you won't have to fear being hurt the same way again, because you'll carry the wisdom and strength that came from facing it head on. Love should feel safe, not like a battlefield, because the very purpose of love is to be a place of rest, not a place of war. When two people choose to love each other, they're supposed to create a shelter from the storms of life, a foundation where they can both stand without fear. But too often people mistake chaos for passion, or arguments for proof of love, tension for connection. They start thinking that if it doesn't hurt, it's not real, that if it isn't full of drama, it must be boring. That's because somewhere along the way, they've been conditioned to accept pain as part of the package of love. But true love isn't supposed to leave you bruised in your spirit, questioning your worth, or begging for peace. True love is supposed to give you freedom to be yourself without the fear of punishment for being vulnerable. A battlefield is a place where you're constantly on guard. You wake up in defense mode, always waiting for the next attack, never feeling safe enough to let your guard down. Sadly, that's how a lot of people live in their relationships. They wake up and wonder, what mood will he be in today? What will I get blamed for this time? What fight is coming? That's not love, that's survival. And you should never have to survive in the same space where you're supposed to thrive. If your heart feels like it's in a war zone every day, that's not love. That's trauma disguised as affection. Love should be the place where you exhale, the place where, after fighting the battles of the outside world, you can come home and rest without fear of being attacked inside your own walls. It should be the arms you run to, not the arms you run from. Too many people have flipped this upside down, staying in relationships that drain them because they've convinced themselves that this constant fighting is what real love looks like. They say, we fight hard, but we love hard. But what they don't realize is that over time, those fights wear you down until the love doesn't even feel like love anymore. It just feels like surviving another round. When love feels like a battlefield, it leaves scars that take years to heal. You lose your confidence because you're constantly criticized. You lose your peace because you're always walking on eggshells. You lose your joy because laughter is replaced with arguments. And worst of all, you lose your sense of self because you're too busy trying to keep the peace or fix what's broken to even recognize who you are anymore. That's the cost of confusing war with love. On the other hand, safe love builds you up instead of breaking you down. Safe love is when you can share your fears and not be mocked for them. Safe love is when you can make mistakes and not be destroyed by them. Safe love is when you can express your needs without being punished for having them. Safe love doesn't mean it's perfect, because no relationship is, but it means even in conflict, there's respect. Even in disagreement, there's care. Even in disappointment, there's understanding. Safe love argues to solve, not to wound. It listens to hear, not to attack. It apologizes to heal, not to manipulate. Too many people have only ever seen battlefield love, so they settle for it, thinking that's just how relationships are supposed to be. Maybe they grew up in homes where yelling was normal, where love was mixed with fear, where silence was used as punishment. And so they grow up repeating those same patterns, confusing toxicity with intensity. But once you experience safe love, you realize how exhausting the battlefield was. You realize how much you were sacrificing just to call something love. Safe love shows you that affection doesn't have to hurt, that intimacy doesn't have to wound, that loyalty doesn't have to feel like imprisonment. Safe love isn't about losing yourself. It's about finding yourself in a space where you're accepted fully. It's about building a life together without destroying each other in the process. It's about protecting each other's vulnerabilities instead of using them as weapons. And once you know what that feels like, you can't go back to accepting the battlefield. Because no matter how much you think you love someone, if being with them feels like war, then what you're fighting for is not love. It's survival dressed up as commitment. Safe love also allows growth. In a battlefield, nobody grows, they just defend. You're too busy protecting yourself to dream, to expand, to flourish. But when you feel safe in love, you can take risks, you can step into bigger versions of yourself because you know your partner is cheering you on, not tearing you down. That's the kind of love that multiplies, that inspires, that leaves you better than it found you. Choosing safe love means rejecting the idea that you have to endure endless pain just to keep someone. It means saying no to manipulation, no to gaslighting, no to betrayal disguised as passion. It means understanding that love should not feel like losing yourself. It should feel like finally being free to be yourself. And if someone cannot provide that safe space, then what they're offering isn't love, it's control, fear, or possession. Real love doesn't make you question if you're good enough. It reminds you every day that you are. It doesn't make you afraid to speak. It invites you to open up. It doesn't make you brace yourself for battle. It gives you peace in the middle of life's storms. Safe love is steady. Safe love is patient. Safe love is respectful. And safe love is worth waiting for. Protect your peace like it's your house because your peace is the foundation of everything you build in life. Think about your home. When you walk inside, you want to feel safe. You want to feel at rest. You want to feel like it's yours. You wouldn't let just anybody walk in, tear up the furniture, spray paint the walls, and throw trash all over the floor. You wouldn't let strangers come in and track mud all across your clean space. You wouldn't give someone the keys who doesn't respect the rules of your home. So why do so many people give open access to their mind, their heart, and their soul to people who don't deserve it? Why do they let toxic words, harmful actions, and careless behavior destroy the very peace they need to survive? Your peace is like your house because it's where you live every single day. If you don't protect it, you'll find yourself living in chaos. And when chaos is your environment, you can't think straight, you can't dream big, you can't love fully, you can't grow strong. You're too busy cleaning up other people's mess to enjoy your own life. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's survival. It's saying, I value my energy enough to guard it from people who drain it. It's saying, I deserve to live in a state of calm, not constant conflict. The first step to protecting your peace is deciding who gets access. Not everybody who wants and deserves a key. Some people only show up to take. They want your time, your energy, your resources, but they don't pour anything back into you. If you gave someone access to your house and all they did was eat your food, break your furniture, and leave the place dirty, you'd stop inviting them back. But emotionally, we let people do this all the time. We let them use us for comfort when they're lonely, take our joy when they're unhappy, drain our energy with the negativity, and then leave us empty. Protecting your peace means setting boundaries so those people can't keep breaking in. Boundaries are the locks on your doors. They're not walls meant to isolate you. They're protections meant to guard what matters most. Saying no doesn't make you mean, it makes you wise. Walking away from drama doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. Refusing to argue with someone who only wants chaos doesn't make you passive, it makes you peaceful. Boundaries let people know this is how far you can go, and if you cross it, you lose access. And the truth is, people who truly care about you will respect those boundaries. The ones who get angry when you protect your peace are the same ones who were benefiting from your lack of it. Another part of protecting your peace is learning to master your reactions. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every insult deserves attention. Not every fight deserves your participation. Sometimes the most powerful way to protect your peace is to walk away, to let silence speak, to refuse to be dragged into battles that aren't worth your time. Because the moment you react, you're handing over your power. Protecting your peace means keeping that power in your own hands, choosing when and where to spend your energy instead of letting someone else dictate. Your peace is also connected to the environments you place yourself in. If you're always in toxic circles, always around gossip, always surrounded by negativity, you can't expect to live in peace. You wouldn't live in a house full of broken glass and expect not to get cut. So why keep living in spaces that constantly wound you? Sometimes protecting your peace means changing your environment, stepping away from people and places that don't support your growth. It means creating spaces, physical and emotional, that feed your soul, whether that's a quiet room in your home, a positive community, or even moments of solitude where you can recharge. Protecting your peace also requires you to check yourself. Sometimes the enemy to your peace isn't other people, it's your own thoughts. You can destroy your peace replaying old arguments, reliving old pain, doubting your worth, and worrying about things that haven't even happened. Protecting your peace means not only keeping others from invading it, but also keeping your mind from sabotaging it. It's learning to catch those negative thoughts before they spiral, to replace them with truth, to remind yourself that you're worthy of calm, of joy, of love, of stillness. There's power in creating routines that protect your peace too. Maybe it's starting your day with prayer, journaling, or meditation before the world tries to throw its noise at you. Maybe it's turning off your phone when you know you need rest instead of being available 24/7 to everybody else's demands. Maybe it's setting aside time for things that bring you joy, reading, walking, listening to music, whatever recharges you. Protecting your peace isn't just about defense, it's about offense too. It's about intentionally building habits that strengthen your spirit so when chaos does come, you're not easily shaken. Some people will say you've changed when you start protecting your peace, and that's okay. They're right. You have changed. You stopped being available for everything that hurt you. You stopped saying yes when you really wanted to say no. You stopped explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. That's growth, not arrogance. That's wisdom, not selfishness. Protecting your peace means choosing you without guilt, and anybody who truly loves you will celebrate that choice, not condemn it. Because at the end of the day, your peace is your home. And if you don't protect it, you'll end up homeless in your own heart. You'll end up living in everybody else's chaos, sleeping in everybody else's noise, and wondering why you feel so exhausted all the time. Protecting your peace means keeping your soul clean, your spirit strong, your mind clear, and your heart safe. And when you do that, you can love better, live freer, and grow stronger. Because you're not constantly repairing damage that could have been prevented by simply locking the door and guarding what belongs to you. Self-love teaches others how to treat you because the way you carry yourself, the standards you set, and the boundaries you enforce all become a blueprint for how people interact with you. If you love yourself enough to walk tall, speak with confidence, and honor your own worth, then the people around you learn that you are not someone to be handled carelessly. But if you neglect yourself, constantly sacrifice your needs, and accept disrespect in the name of love, then you're showing others that mistreating you has no consequence. People are watching how you treat you, and they take their cues from that. Self-love is not just saying, I love myself in the mirror. It's a lifestyle. It's in the choices you make every day. It's in how you speak to yourself when nobody else is listening. It's in how you show up for yourself when life gets hard. If you constantly tear yourself down, if you settle for less than you deserve, if you ignore your own needs, you're teaching the world that this is the standard. Self-love says, I know who I am, I know what I deserve, and I will not accept less than that. When you carry yourself like that, people either rise to the standard or they remove themselves. The problem is, too many people look to others for the validation. They refuse to give themselves. They wait for a man to tell them they're beautiful, for friends to affirm their worth, for family to acknowledge their value. And while there's nothing wrong with enjoying love and affirmation from others, if you're depending on it to feel whole, you're in trouble. Because the moment they stop giving it, you'll feel empty. Self-love fills you up from the inside. So when somebody compliments you, it's extra, not essential. When somebody affirms you, it's a bonus, not a requirement. That shift is what makes you powerful because you're no longer begging for what you've already given yourself. Self-love also sets the tone in relationships. If you love yourself, you won't chase someone who doesn't want you. You won't tolerate someone who constantly disrespects you. You won't settle for being treated as an option when you know you deserve to be a priority. Loving yourself means you won't have to scream for respect because your very presence demands it. People recognize when someone values themselves, and it makes them think twice before trying to devalue you. On the other hand, if you don't love yourself, you'll tolerate almost anything just to feel wanted. You'll ignore red flags, accept lies, and excuse bad behavior because you're afraid to lose them, not realizing you're really losing yourself. The truth is self-love is a teacher. It teaches people how close they can get to you, how much they can take from you, and how far they can push you. If you allow constant disrespect, you've taught them that's acceptable. If you set firm boundaries, you've taught them where the line is. And once people know the line, they have a choice to stay within it or leave. Either way, you win because you've chosen to love yourself enough not to bend for somebody who refuses to respect your worth. Self-love also means caring for your body, your mind, and your spirit. It's not just emotional, it's practical. Eating well, resting when you need to, moving your body, protecting your mental health, feeding your soul. All of these are acts of love towards yourself. And when others see you taking that level of care with yourself, they understand that you're not someone who will tolerate neglect. If you're intentional about treating yourself well, others will either align with that standard or they won't last in your life. Another key part of self-love is how you speak. The language you use about yourself becomes the language others adopt about you. If you constantly call yourself stupid, ugly, or worthless, you open the door for others to echo those same lies. But if you affirm yourself, if you carry yourself with dignity, if you speak with confidence, you train people to approach you with respect. Words have power, and the words you use about yourself either elevate or diminish you in the eyes of others. Self-love is also about accountability. It's not just pampering yourself or treating yourself to good things. It's also holding yourself responsible for your growth. If you truly love yourself, you won't keep sabotaging your own future with poor decisions, toxic habits, or staying stuck in the same cycles. You'll discipline yourself because you know you deserve better. And when others see that, they understand you're serious about your life, which makes them take you more seriously too. Sometimes people stay in toxic relationships because they think leaving means they weren't enough. But self-love teaches you that leaving means you were more than enough and you simply refuse to stay where you are undervalued. It teaches you that walking away is not losing, it's protecting. It's saying, I love me too much to let this destroy me. And when people see that level of strength, they respect it, even if they can't give you what you deserve. Self-love doesn't mean you'll never get hurt, but it does mean you won't let hurt define you. It means you'll heal, grow, and come back stronger because you love yourself enough to keep moving forward. And every time you choose yourself, you make it clear to the world, this is how I expect to be treated. Not with disrespect, not with half effort, not with empty words, but with the same love, respect, and care I already give myself. And that's why self-love is the greatest teacher. You don't have to beg people to treat you right. You don't have to constantly explain your standards. You just have to embody them. The way you love yourself sets the example, and others will follow that example or they'll fall away. Either way, you'll be standing in your worth, unshaken, because you built it on the foundation of your own love.